Hello everyone and welcome to today's healing subscription. So this is a special one because we have 5 weeks in this month, and so this healing session is free for all. So the ones who are following me, you will be getting an extra healing session for this month, and for the ones who do not yet follow me, this will give you some ideas to how I do some of the healing sessions. Each healing session is different, so I check in every Monday to see what modality we use or what combination of modalities we use, and then we bring through the information and the healing session. So let's start with our tune in. I have a light code for us today. As always, I dowse to see which one we are focusing on, and in today's session we have the light code activation for the Arcturian Starseeds, or the Arcturians. And so the Arcturians are great beings that work with healing. They are master healers. So let's take an opportunity in a moment to get quiet. Perhaps close your eyes for a moment and just bring to your awareness or to your consciousness what it is that you would like to bring in. What would you like to release? What would you like to heal? What would you like to receive during today's healing? Once you have an idea as to what it is that you would like to receive, release, or heal, you may open your eyes and allow your eyes to gently rest upon this light code. This is our connection for today's session. And perhaps you want to trace the lines with your eyes. Don't try and analyze or translate. Or perhaps your eyes are just drawn to a specific area within the light code, and that's okay. Keep in your consciousness and awareness what you would like to receive, heal, or release in today's session. If you need more time here, feel free to pause the recording. Okay, so in today's session we're working with the Book of Doors cards. These are oracle cards that have been with me since 1994. It was, I think, my second deck ever that I received, and I absolutely love these cards. I still use them. They're still one of my favorite decks, and they are Egyptian based oracle cards. I have a great affinity to ancient Egypt, and so we'll be working with these. Combining with them, I'm using the Wands of Horus cards just to get a deeper insight on top of the cards. I'm also using the Wands of Horus cards to do the transmission for today's session. And what I may do off camera a little bit later on when I do the actual healing, I'll be using most likely the Atlantean Healing Paddles. I'll just quickly grab one. Which one of... Okay, so we've got the orange one that came up. So they are these paddles. They've got color in them, and they've got they work on magnetism and radiesthesia and triangulation to bring about deep healing. So okay, let's move on to today's session. I have already drawn the cards. I've done the layout, and I have already dowsed to see what Wands of Horus cards need to go and balance them. And so I'm going to do the analysis now. As always, I don't analyze beforehand. I go with a clear, open mind, and I do what I need to do. I prep everything, and now I do the recording where we're going to analyze, and then after the recording I go in and I do the healing work. So let's dive in. So we have a spread. This is the usual spread that we use for the Book of Doors. The top section of the spread is the spiritual aspect. The middle section, or the second section down, is the mental. Then the third section down is the emotional, and then the last one is the physical levels. And Everything on the left-hand side, that is associated with the past. The right-hand side is the future. And then the central column, there's only 2 cards in the center. That represents, the top one is our guiding principle, or what this reading is about. And the middle one is our bridge, as we call it, which is our bridge between the mental and the emotional and the physical, and also to the spiritual. Now, we have used these cards a number of times within previous sessions, and there has been a bit of a theme going on, especially if we look at that last card that you see right at the bottom right. That card, if I have to go back to the previous sessions, but that card, I think at one stage was right on top, and then later on it shifted down to the middle or to the bottom, and then it kept going down, and now it's finally the last card. So what that shows me is that there's a progression, there's a movement of energy from where we were a few months ago, and we've been through quite a ride in the last few months, and that card has actually consistently been coming up in various locations, and usually it started at one level and it slowly worked its way down to where it is final. So what this tells me is that whatever cycle we were going through is coming to an end, and there's most likely a new cycle. And so let's have a look at the cards and then see how they all balance and interpret, and what the message is for this session, and also how this is going to translate perhaps into February and into March. So our first card that we have is Horus, or Heru. Now Horus he's the Avenger. He is all about victory, and so the message here is that we are triumphant, we overcome our adversaries, whatever that may have been. So whatever we've been dealing with the last few months, we've overcome that. I don't know if any of you have felt it, but I've definitely felt a big shift in energy since I think 2-3 months ago. We had quite a bit of a heavy, dense energy, and it's been slowly lifting, but it's where we are now, it is feeling lighter. And the fact that we've got Horus coming up here is just confirmation that we are going through this energy, and we have gone through this already. Then we've got our mental level. This is in the past. This is how we've used the energy in the past, and so let's take it from the last few months since we've been working with this energy. So Sheta is all about building and creating. She's also the goddess of writing and success. So what we've been working with, building, constructing, and this could be projects that you've been working on, projects that you've been bringing through. Sheta has come up before in a previous reading as well. Again, I will have to go back because I tend to forget afterwards once I've done something. But I think I remember Sheta coming up in a previous reading. So this is about planning or creating something, maybe writing something, whether it's a project or a book or something like that. But in the past, we've had to perhaps plan and work our way through to get to where we are right now. Then we've got the future card. Now the future card here, Duat, if you look at the bottom, you've got Duat 8 and then Pertemeru. Duat is the family and Pertemeru is the actual card, and the number in the center is the number for the card. So Duat is the family of darkness or the afterlife. Pertemeru is the final card within the family of Duat. And so this means that we've done the journey. Our final card in today's one is actually the journey. So it's actually saying that we're starting that journey again. If I quickly go back to where's that cards now. So if you look at our final card, that is the journey that we're going through. So here it's saying for the future, this is on a mental level, we're getting to an end of this cycle of journeying through the darkness or journeying through the shadow. We've made it through. It's the final gate, but we are there and we have made it. So it's about spiritual awakening. So what could be some form of enlightenment, something new that you're learning or that's coming through. It could also indicate victory and success. So it just mirrors again what we had with Horus. So completion of a cycle, something new coming. Going to the emotional level, the first card, this is how we would have used our emotions and our intuition in the past and how it's affecting us now. Here we've got Nectep. And so Nectep is about gestation. She's one of the mother goddesses. So the what's the word? I can't remember my word. The vulture. The vulture is very strongly associated in ancient Egypt with motherhood and gestation. So again, she's also showing that we're going to be successful with whatever this new project is that we have started in the past. We're applying our spiritual teachings given to us. So I would take this as the healing sessions that we've been doing. You've been going through the healing, you've been applying the homework and everything that I've given you. And so this is just showing us that you are on the right track. You have a clear vision of where you're perhaps wanting to go. Perhaps there's more clarity than what you used to have or before. And so this is just clearing that way to where we're going next. Then our bridge, this is one of the primordial gods, Kekyu. You'll see that up on top of his head there's a scarab. The scarab is associated with the sun and with illumination. And you'll see there's a very thin beam of light coming through from that. And he's holding this cup and he's taking that light and actually cycling through. So this is about alchemy, it's about transformation. It's also about getting insight into where you're at. And Kekyu usually comes through when there's a fast transmutation coming. So this is something that's not a slow process. We have gone through the slow work already over the last few months. Now here, there's that enlightenment, there's the light coming up, it's that very focused beam of light. And so as a bridge card, this is actually a really great one. And card number 5. 5 is also a bridging card. So this is definitely showing us that we're in a new space where there's new insights or ideas coming for you. And we're going to be working through that in this healing session as well. And then here's the scarab again. And as I said, I'm not interpreting anything, and because I'm going card by card, I'm actually not seeing the layout. I've got them here next to me, but I'm not looking at them. So this is just, again, very exciting to see the scarab coming up here. And if we look back a few cards, here we have the scarab again. So scarab is the Keperu or Kepera that we've got here. He is the one that brings the sun up in the morning and also takes the sun down at night. So this is about transformation, taking a ball of dung, for example, and transmuting that into life. So this is the creator god that gave birth to himself. It's also about transformation and transmutation of situations. And usually it's associated with inner transformation. So this is about you transforming your inner life, not necessarily the world around you, but we affect the world around us by changing our inner world and our perceptions of our inner world. So this is all about that renewal. So on the emotional level, there's a renewal happening as well. Then on the physical level, this is in the past. We have the Afneteru, and these are the 4 sons of Horus. And Afneteru normally brings help and direction. So it's protection in a way, and it's conservation of energy, like really holding the energy. The ancient Egyptians had these canopic jars that they used when you passed away, and the 4 jars were shaped like these Afneteru, and they would put different organs into each of the jars, and that was a form of protecting the more sensitive areas of the human physical being, because they wanted to with the embalming process, they wanted to keep that body alive for as long as possible, because then the ka, or the spirit of the body, the soul, the astral body, would be able to still interact with this world. And so this has got a very strong protective quality to it as well. When Afneteru comes up, it also indicates that there's a new phase in life. So again, it would echo from the previous cards that we've had, that there's a new beginning, something new started, and we were in the beginning phases of that in the past, and we are moving through into our new space. Then we've got Ra, which is the sun god, and this is a very strong creative force. We've got the two eyes that you've got. The one eye is associated with the sun. That's the one on the right, and the one on the left is associated with the moon. And so these are, if we had to put gods to these, we've got the sun aspect is Hathor, goddess of love, and the moon aspect is Sekhmet, goddess of the moon, or goddess of war, sorry. And so what Ra does is, as you can see in the serpent, the two stars, it actually brings them together, where you've got the two separate elements outside of the serpent. It brings them into the serpent as one, and that takes it up into the sun disk with the wings and everything. So very, very creative aspect here. This again indicates success. It indicates that we've overcome some obstacles. This is still in the past, so this is in the recent past. And so again, that would also indicate a change in energy and flow. Then going into where we are right now, and just a little bit ahead of where we are, we've got Apet. This is another mother goddess. This is the hippopotamus goddess, and we have on her back the crocodile. Now the crocodile, they've got amazing immune systems, and so they can regenerate themselves very quickly, and they don't get any infection. So even if another crocodile bites them or scratch them in the muddy waters, the dirty waters, they will never get an infection. So when we get the crocodile coming through as a symbol, this is a symbol of strength. And if we want to take it on the physical level, we are on the physical level, then your immune system, strong immune system, perhaps some healing on a physical level. But when we look at Apet itself, the mother goddess, the hippopotamus, this is about new beginnings, new directions, perhaps like a gestation period as well, again, birthing something new, bringing a new thing through. So whatever project that you started with in the recent past, that is coming through to where we are now, and this is getting to our sense of completion and our new direction. It could also indicate that we're coming to a center point, we're coming to a space of quiet. So if we look at energy moving, let's say something like an explosion of sorts, it starts off where it almost pulls into itself and then it explodes out, and then there's a bit of a pause before it then collapses into itself again, and then there's a bit of a pause before it expands again. So same with breathing. When we breathe in, there's a pause, and then you inhale, and there's a pause, and then there's an exhale, and there's a pause. And so when Apet comes in, it's that pause between the inhalation or the exhalation. So it gives us that moment to just center and realign. And then the final card we have here is Amenta, and Amenta shows that we are going into the darkness. This is us going into the journey. You can see right at the bottom of the card is the boat, and the Kepera that we had in the beginning is sitting there. So I don't really like having this card as our final card, because it means that here we go again. We're going for another round, which means the issues that we had a few months ago with the darkness and fighting and working against all of that and trying to lift out of that darkness, it means that where we're going next is another cycle of that. I'm hoping that with the tools that we have, with the insights we have, the rest of the spread is amazing and it's very positive. And I think that we've got the tools and the insights and the illumination and enlightenment to be able to work through this next cycle. Whereas before, that smack of darkness really triggered maybe out of the blue. Maybe we didn't expect it, we weren't looking for it, we weren't aware of it. This time around, we're aware of it, we know it's coming, and so we can prepare accordingly. So what I will do is probably maybe once a month, I will do another reading on these just to keep up to date as to what's happening energetically as well. But I thought that today was a good time to do this. And we know what we're coming in for. But the rest of this reading is really, really positive. So this last one, even though it means that we're going perhaps into the darkness, that could also be going to do shadow work. We're going in to do our shadow work. That could be another approach. Or it could indicate that we're going on an adventure. So if we're going to take it a little bit more out of the negative, perhaps this is more of a positive one, because the rest of the reading is actually really positive. What I did then was I dowsed to see what Wands of Horus cards came on top of each of the cards, and I'm going to see if that gives us a bit of a different spin on things, or maybe a little bit more insight. So that's what I did there with the next spread. So the Wands of Horus cards are now laying on top of our spread, and let's go and analyze each of these. What I can see just off the bat is that the last card is definitely more on the positive side, so that I would say that's more of an adventure than going into the darkness. And where we are at, and also the top two cards, they both have the Neteneteru cards on them, which means like anything's possible, anything we want, anything we desire, anything we want to work for is bound to be successful, and it's good. So I would say overall this is actually we in for some good times in the next month or so. So on Horus or Heru, we've got the Neteneteru card. As I mentioned, Neteneteru is the gods. So Neteneteru actually means god of gods. And when this card comes up, it indicates that anything is possible. Everything we put our focus and attention on will come true. I will also just put into your awareness that if you have a little bit more of a negative spin on life mentally, then that could also translate. So it's not something that's here in the cards, but I'm just putting it out there. So keep your thoughts and your mind and your emotions on a positive note. If you feel that you need to vent something, really vent it. Don't hold on to any negative emotions. Get it out of the system. It's okay to get angry. There's no rules that says, oh, we're spiritual people and we're not allowed to get angry. I know so some people who think that way, but anger, especially when it comes as an emotion, is an explosive emotion, and it needs to fly out. You don't want anger sitting in the body and stewing. That's like putting a pressure cooker on. And if you want to cook your insides, by all means go for it, but we don't want to do that. Then Sesheta, this is our project, or whatever it is that you're starting, you're working on, your direction that you're working with. Perhaps it's a book or a blog or something, because it's very strongly associated with writing. We've got the fire card here. Now the fire is your passion, so it's like really lighting a fire under your behinds. I think if you have projects going and you've been feeling a little bit less than passionate in the last few weeks, perhaps what this is indicating is that we are relighting that fire, we are relighting the passion, and we're wanting to bring that clarity and light through to get these projects going. Then Pertemiru, our joyful sort of completion of the cycle. Again, we've got the Neteneteru, which is a very positive card here. We've made it through. There's joy, there's celebration. We're all good to go. Then looking at the mental level, this is that gestation period. This is the project again that we were thinking about, that we were looking into. And beautiful here, we've got the Divine Feminine as the card, which is sitting on the vulture and the Mother Goddess. So how much more feminine or motherly can we get here? This is new beginnings, new birthing, and so it again so beautifully reflects what's happening in Nekbet with this card. So that new beginning and new directions to go. Kekyu has the Sahu card, and this is your inner judge card, and this is part of the spiritual body. So when we look at the inner judge here, this is not about you, it's not about you being hard on yourself, but this is how you assess your life, how you look through what's been going on for you. And in a way, this is about finding a center point, similar to what we have in that final cards. And this is really about sitting down and assessing. If we look at the card in the back, we've got the beam of light coming from Keperu. Perhaps that beam of light needs to go on to where we can sit and we can assess what's been going on in the last few months. Where are we? Where are we wanting to go? Where have we been? And then going through that judgment process in a healthy, compassionate way. This is also our bridging card. So as a bridge, we need to just reassess. That's basically what's coming up here. Then Kepera has the air card, and of course Kepera takes the sun through the sky and through the air. Kepera is associated with fire, and if we look at the bottom of the card, it says pet for Kepera. Pet is the family, and so Pet is the family of the heavens, or family of heaven. And so the air card on top of this also reflects this sort of heaven quality. The air card usually comes up when there's clearing to be done. It is associated with the mind, so clearing thoughts, clearing the mind. It could also be electrosmog and things like that, but in this case I would translate this more as the mind. This is about well, as the image we've got in the background, we've got the clouds in the sky. Perhaps what we need to do as a part of a meditation is to allow ourselves to look at the mind and what's happening in the mind chatter, as a cloudy sky, and instead of trying to chase all the thoughts away, just watch them as clouds drift away naturally in the wind. So just again clearing the thoughts, clearing the mind, so we are ready for our next phase and our next direction. Afneteru has got the awareness card, and as I'd mentioned, this is about the preparation for our new phase. And so the awareness is that we can again bring our consciousness and our awareness into where we have been, to acknowledge where we've been, and perhaps give ourselves that little pat on the shoulder to say, well done. We tend to always look at, what do I still need? What do I still need? Where do I still need to go? We tend to forget about, what have I achieved? What have I accomplished? There may have been some times over the last few months where you felt that it was just too tough to continue. And so look back now, you've made it through. Bring that into your awareness. Bring that into your insight and into your vision, and see that you have made it through. And if you have made it through, you can do that again if you need to. We are a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for, and this is that pat on the back that we need. Ra has the heart card, and what immediately draws my attention is the stars on that serpent's chest. And so he's taking the two external forces, the sun and the moon, and pulling it into the heart of the matter. So within our heart space, we want to pull into the space the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative. Remember, Ra is about our creative power, and it's about success, and it's about overcoming our obstacles. And so with our creative projects, you want to be able to express that. And what normally holds us back is perhaps fear of success or fear of failure. Those are usually two big ones, and sometimes they're even combined. I know sometimes I have that, where fear of failure and fear of success are equally big, and they're sitting within me, and I'm not sure which direction to go. And in the case like that, our advice is to drop into the heart space. Be true to who you are. Be truthful of who and what you are all about. Be in your truth. Be authentically you, without apologizing. Then Apet, this is our gestation, and this center point, the still point. Again, a beautiful card to get here. Actually, I'm always surprised to see how these cards aligned. Here we have the Union card, and the Union card at the top, the long square, that is the mouth area, and then you've got the esophagus, or the whole bronchial tube story going down. You've got the heart right in the bottom, and then you've got these two buckets or bowls, which represents the bottom of the lungs. And we've got two different types of lotus flowers coming from the bottom of the lungs and also from the top of the esophagus. So the card itself represents this union of the external forces, the lotus flowers, and our internal forces, the heart and the whole bronchial tube and esophagus, and bringing them together into a union. I love this hieroglyph. It's one of my favorites, and it's such a beautiful story. So when we look at our pet, which is about this new projects, getting into the still point, and returning to your source, then we've got this union card that, again, it just shows us how we get into alignment. So that alignment, so previous card we had focus, bring yourself into your heart, and here it's a reminder of being within the breath. When we are focused on our breath, we are in the now. There's no past and there's no future. We're in the now. And so perhaps what we need to do as well is to focus on our breath as we work through whatever comes our way in the next few months. And the final card, as I've mentioned, we've got, this is definitely a more of an adventure sign. We have the Radiance card, and the Radiance card is all about showering that light upon the situation, bringing light into every situation that's coming your way. So going through a mentor or the journey with a big bright light shining above you, this is really an adventure. This is eyes wide open, you know where you're going, you can see where you're going, because as I mentioned earlier, Duat is the darkness. So what better card to have on top of the darkness than the Radiance card? It means we can see clearly as we're going through our journey. So definitely adventure material. I think we're in for an interesting ride, and yay, I'm looking forward to that. So that's all of our cards, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a bit of healing work on that. Okay, so let's start off with bringing the purple paddle through, and I'm using the purple paddle to remove and release any negative energies that may be in this spread and in this session. So whatever energies that's left behind, perhaps from any stress, trauma, any negative experiences that you've had over the last few months. Green coming through next. Green stimulates and gets energy to move. This feels a little bit scratchy, so I'm just going to combine with yellow. Bringing in some blue to just hook some of that past and bring it into the future. balancing, harmonizing. Smoothing out with a bit of yellow. And finally, a little splash of pink.